meaning Jesus, a living stone rejected by men, but in the sight of God chosen and precious, you yourselves, like living stones, are being built up as a spiritual house to be a holy priesthood, to offer spiritual sacrifices acceptable to God through Jesus Christ. If we build it, ourselves in this case, being built by God into a spiritual house, they, acceptable spiritual sacrifices, will come. So, what are spiritual sacrifices acceptable to God? Well, first off, Peter says spiritual sacrifices to distinguish them from physical sacrifices where animals were killed in the Old Testament under the Jewish law. They slaughtered animals for so many different things. There were 613 laws that they had to follow. Okay, but what exactly are spiritual sacrifices? Well, Paul tells us in Romans chapter 12, therefore I urge you, brothers and sisters, in view of God's mercy, to offer your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and pleasing to God. This is your true and proper worship. Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, his good, pleasing, and perfect will. That is a spiritual sacrifice. In much the same way Peter distinguished between physical and spiritual sacrifices, Paul made a similar difference. Notice Paul says, present your bodies as a living sacrifice. The reason that's important is because a living sacrifice can crawl off the altar. When they killed the animals in the Old Testament, they weren't going anywhere. But we're living sacrifices. We can crawl away. So it's challenging to place our bodies there and not run away. Sacrificing ourselves by being holy and acceptable, being transformed and not conformed to this world, having our minds renewed. If we build it, they will come. Why does Paul start this message with that word, therefore? Whenever you see the word therefore, you're supposed to ask yourself this question. What is therefore? It is based upon the last verse of chapter 11 in Romans. Oh, the depth of the riches of the wisdom and knowledge of God, how unsearchable his judgments and his paths beyond tracing out. Who has known the mind of the Lord? Or who has been his counselor? Who has ever given to God that God would need to repay them? For from him and through him and for him are all things. To him be the glory forever. Amen. For from him and through him and for him are all things. Therefore, present your bodies a living sacrifice. Be renewed in your mind. Don't be conformed to the world. Be transformed. That is what the therefore is there for. Amen? If we build it, they will come. If we build our spiritual selves up, we will make a building working with God, and it will make a difference to those around us. Amen? If we build it, our walk with God, they, people who don't know Jesus, will come. They will see the blessings. They will see the prayers answered. Your smile, even when things are not so good. Amen, Julius? And they will come. There's something different about you. Tell me more about this. I want to know what you know. Actions speak louder than words. Remember the quote from St. Francis of Assisi. Preach the gospel at all times. If necessary, use words. If you build it, they will come. So the question for us this morning is, will we break ground today? Amen?